everybody want to say, well, this your personal decision, this your conviction, this your personal conviction. You didn't have a relationship with the Lord before, so that's why you didn't have a strong foundation with the Lord. But it's not even all that. It's the hidden things within these sororities, within these fraternities, in these secret societies, the foundation.
Wow.
Even in the ritual book, they'll throw scripture in there. They'll sprinkle some scripture in it. Like, you're submitting yourself to this principality, because that's what it is. But you sprinkle Jesus in there like some seasoning to try to cover up the actual meat of the situation.
Because that's what a lot of people look at it as. Oh, these are Christian organizations. That's how it's marketed, you know, even on college campuses, that this is a Christian organization.
No, it's not. And guess what? With these ritual books, you're not reading them. You don't have a copy of them. So you're in the moment saying these things, and you're not sitting and processing what you're saying. Even when we used to take like our pledges, doing these oaths and stuff like that, God says in his word, he's a jealous God. You can't serve two masters.
Good.
So when you're praying and making these pledges, it's a prayer in the ritual book, and it closes in Jesus' name. But basically in the prayer, you're asking that God will lead you so you can be able to give your gifts, your talents, everything to this organization. Guess what? The enemy can't do nothing to us unless we give him permission to do it. So, you know, when we think about like selling our soul to the devil and all this stuff, we think that it's so deep and like, oh, he gonna come to you and and things like this.
Just subtle things.
Subtle things.
Yeah.
You feel like it's just normal because it's, especially in the black community, it's just so big.
Yeah, it is.
It's so big.
It is.
Pastors.
And even in the black church. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, don't get me started.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's huge. Yeah.
And it's so normalized.
Yeah.
But this is a way that the enemy is keeping us from advancing the kingdom.
What's up, everyone? It's Books&Looks TV. Today I'm going to be talking about a controversial topic, and I don't mean to disrespect anyone who may be a member of any of these fraternities or sororities or affiliated in some form or fashion. I personally don't think that all sorority and fraternity members are bad people. I do think that there are misconceptions, and I do think that there are some members who make horrible choices that unfortunately reflects usually the majority of the fraternity or the sorority organization, just like any other thing. And so recently there's been a trend on social media where people are denouncing their affiliations with certain D9 fraternities and sororities. So a lot of y'all know about like the history of Black sororities and fraternities. I think that originally there was some positives, like Black people wanting to thrive together and have some type of like sisterhood or brotherhood in like integrated spaces, whoop-de-whoop. But also there has been like problematic elitism that has been a part of the organizations as well, such as like paperback tests, which a lot of times was a behavior brought from Louisiana to elite colleges up north by like Black men. Black women have perpetuated it through like colorism. So there's been texturism, futurism, just having classism, sometimes being multi-generational, college educated. Like there's so many factors that has kind of created a us versus them. And I personally remember being on campus and seeing some upright sorority individuals and fraternity individuals, then just seeing like just toxic behavior. And so I just remember off bat, people who never even went to college would say this shit sounds like a gang. And a gang could be a group of people like in a literal sense, but in general, how there's so much like dominance and territorial behaviors. I used to think it was really extreme. And even like the idea of hazing, I used to be like, I'm Black, why the fuck do I have to get hazed? You know, like that's crazy to me. Like if I'm a Black woman, I'm your sister. Like, so I agreed with like the idea of doing positive things, like showing my character, integrity, community service, being there for people who needed me. I'm not in a sorority, by the way. I'm just saying the idea, I thought sisterhood is great, brotherhood is great, but exploiting people is not great. And I think that that's like a huge red flag towards a lot of like membership or continuing to be in sororities and fraternities. When I was a freshman and just wide-eyed, I thought, oh, this is cool to see them stroll, et cetera, et cetera. And I remember I had asked like an older woman who was established in the beauty salon about her organization and just anything she thought about joining in the future. And she told me sincerely that, well, all of those things are great and I love my sorority, but your primary focus should be your education. Like, don't worry about those things. It is a general thing that people will tell you if you're interested in joining, focus on your GPA, etc. But her tone was just like, girl, you came here for education. Don't worry about that at all. And I don't think it really had to do with me being a freshman. She knew I was young, obviously, but you could just kind of tell that there was like a nuance layers that she probably couldn't discuss. And then I heard other Black women who would say how their sorority members like mess with their man and, you know, just getting into fights and just a lot of cattiness. And I know that's not, again, the heat of like what it means to be in a sorority. But when you look at all of those things, it's like, why get into that? And I do think that Black people have like so much trauma in general as like individuals and collectively that sometimes it's kind of hard to avoid. I just want to play these people the following experiences or like public opinion on social media. And then I'm going to wrap up with like my general conclusion of the idea of like denouncing or renouncing a fraternity and sorority.
The Lord revealed to me today that secret societies all have humiliation rituals in them. So I knew like D9s were just like inherently demonic, right? Things that are not of God or demonic. So I had this understanding that I too also was a part, before I was saved, in a secret society. And it wasn't like a big one. It was basically, they're called like turtles, and it's a drinking fraternity, right? And basically at my school, it was just kind of this like fun thing that as a freshman, everybody does. And for me, I was led by like the upperclassmen, to be a part of it, not blaming them, because I made the decision to be a part of it myself, but I'm just letting you know how I kind of got into it. So kids, don't be led astray. So I was watching this video of like D9 members denouncing. They were talking about the hazing that they had to go through. And they also talked about specifically Kappa Alpha Psi, how they were humiliated by their members, like the older members or whatever, because they basically kind of had to like beg to be on the phone with them or something. I don't know. But yeah, that's just humiliation, right? So the spirit fully entered into my body, right? And I started to have a conversation with my brother, and I was like, dude, you've done a humiliation ritual before. And I was telling him how it was, but then the Lord put it on my spirit. He was like, Fabiana, I'm not talking about him. I'm talking about you, sis. I'm like, hold on, Lord, what you talking about? And he was like, you completed a humiliation ritual before. And I started searching my spirit. I was like, what are you talking about? So in order to be initiated into this fraternity, you have to drink blindfolded. Gallons of alcohol, right? And you walk into this room and you're just drinking in front of all of the members that are already in this fraternity. And so mind you, there's people recording you while you're progressively getting drunker. And the reason why you wear a blindfold is because your body can't tell if you're drunk if you're blindfolded. When you take off the blindfold, your body is like, okay, I'm drunk, but I'm plastered. It's horrible. And so after that, you get the paddle or whatever. And so after I went through that process, mind you, this is my freshman year in college. Somebody sent a video of me and my other like line members of us getting paddled and us drinking and us like completely making a fool out of ourselves into the group chat. And I remember thinking like, oh my gosh, I don't remember any of the things that I did. And then my the people that were at the party that wasn't being initiated, they were like, Fabiana, you were being so crazy. Da, da, da. And I just remember feeling like, dang, like this is kind of embarrassing. And that was the humiliation ritual. And I remember that I too was initiating some members, and I have videos on my phone of people getting humiliated by going through this ritual. And so it calls me to 1 Corinthians 2, 2 Corinthians 2:14 says, "But the natural man receiveth not the things of the Spirit of God, for they are foolishness unto him, neither can he know them, because they are spiritually discerned." I used to really judge people doing D9, but then I had to take a look at myself in the mirror. I was them before I was saved. I was the natural man, just as they are, thinking that this was just all fun and games. Foolishness! I pray that you get the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. You are being led astray by the members of your organization and the people around you. There is not one thing in the Bible that talks about a ritual or being humiliated or being hit to be called a child of God. Your organization is not of God. Turn back, repent, and give your life to Christ.
Black people right now who are a part of Black Greek fraternities and sororities are denouncing and removing themselves. You want to know why? Because a lot of them are realizing that these sororities and fraternities are just covert ways of false worship, false pagan worshiping. It's covert bullying. It's narcissism. Really think about it. They call it brotherhood and sisterhood. So tell me this, why do I got to get my ass beat down? Why do I got to do things to degrade myself as a human being in order to prove my self-worth to join your organization? The God that I serve would never subject me to lower myself in order to prove myself. He loves me just the way that I am. So why would a Black Greek fraternity and sorority put people through so much, physically, mentally, psychologically, and emotionally abuse someone to make them prove just how bad they want to be accepted and validated by a group of human beings? My Black sisters and brothers, do you know that you're already validated by God? And that maybe mom and dad and your family members might have mistreated you, and you're seeking some sort of family structure in this Greek fraternity and sorority. However, if you just learn to be happy by yourself, God will start to send your true brothers and sisters in spirit. He will send you brothers and sisters, whereas you don't have to join a false fraternity or sorority to feel like somebody. They are covert narcissists. A lot of them that attended Black colleges and joined these fraternities and sororities 20 and 30 years ago, they were bullies then, and I guarantee you the majority of them are still bullies and idiots and insecure with superior complexes. Get to know God. Get close to God. Stop joining these fraternities and sororities seeking validation because you don't know who you are in Christ. Your brotherhood and sisterhood is built in spirit, not through some false organization that beats on people and whoops on people and drains people and sleep deprivation. They'll make you sit up and stay up all night, and sleep deprivation is abuse. They subject you to deplorable conditions just to prove your self-worth. That is not godly. I rest my case. Okay, so I'm going to respond to your comment to my video about Black Greek sororities and fraternities hazing people, and people are waking up and denouncing these sororities and fraternities. Your comment says grad chapter doesn't do that. If you don't like them, keep it moving. They do work in the community, probably more than a church. I pledged grad chapter, and they absolutely psychologically and emotionally abused me. This is called narcissistic abuse, FYI. And just because people do community service doesn't make them good people. You do know there's a term called communal narcissism, which means a communal narcissist only does community service to protect his image, but he goes behind closed doors and he abuses people when nobody's looking. So you need to go sit down somewhere and brush up on your education on what emotional abuse is, and you have a good day, sir.
But this is why I said I need your prayers, because y'all, that scripture struck me last night. That It's only the ones that do the will of my Father who is in heaven. So on this Sunday, I'm letting y'all know publicly, this is one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. I'm shaking right now. But I am denouncing my fraternity on this Sunday. Now, watch this. I'm officially denouncing my fraternity, Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. And it's not to say that it's demonic. Not to say anybody in the Greek organization has to do the same thing of that nature. Because he has clearly laid it on me. This has nothing to do with anybody else being Greek or doing. But I realized last night when that scripture said it's only the one who does the will of my Father who is in heaven. So the truth of the matter is, I realized I've been going back and forth with the concept of denouncing for about a year now. And it was plain to see that this was the will of God for my life. I don't want to go through this life living for Him and not experience His glory in the end. So what I have decided to do is to be an example right here in the pulpit, right now in full submission to God. Because I want y'all to see that just because you got the mic or you in the pulpit does not mean you always have it figured out. The concept of denouncing for over a year now, and none of y'all ever do it. And I'm not going to be the one to walk around with my nose up and pretend that I still don't have areas in my life that I need God to step in. Now, it does not mean the struggle that I had before I got saved is still the same struggle. But what I learned is as I grow in God, I'm constantly leaning on Him to get me through every phase in my life. As the scripture stated, you cannot stand against your enemies until you remove the thing that you weren't supposed to have. As long as Israel held on to the items that they were not supposed to have, they were going to fail over and over and over again. And spiritually, I decided I didn't want to hit a glass ceiling with my relationship with God. That I could see it. It looked like Israel could defeat the people they were about to fight. But because they were still holding on to something. So I did that to show y'all what's real. To show y'all that even though we preach and we tell people to live right, we do everything, you still gotta live right. But we still got areas to grow.
My daddy was a Freemason. My mama was an Eastern Star. They didn't stay in it, but when they first did that, they didn't know any better. They didn't know they were wrong. Those of you who know me or you've been following me for a length of time, you wanted to be an AKA. I actually was in a probate show before, an Alpha Phi Alpha probate. AKAs were off my yard at first when I was in college, but when we had the first wait show when they came back, I literally had people that came up to me after the show saying they only came because they thought I was coming out. The Lord revealed to me that it is demonic and that I could not pledge. He sent a cousin of mine, honestly, who shared some information with me. Then he started giving me dreams or whatever. I have family that's in it, family members that I've congratulated. You're not knowing then, thinking, oh, it's not that deep. It is. You're pledging to other gods.
So I've been seeing a lot of videos about people denouncing, and then in backlash, I've been seeing a lot of videos about people being upset that a lot of people are denouncing, calling it a trend and all these different things. Now, I'm going to just be like completely honest with y'all. I'm not in a sorority. I used to be interested in being in one, but I never joined. And that was, God's conviction and also God's protection over me. But the fact of the matter really is, it's like, if you feel as though you're being convicted to do something, are we here to please God or are we here to please man? Like, really, what's the tea? You know what I'm saying? And so some people are not feeling convicted to denounce their sorority or fraternity. And I mean, that's on you. You know what I'm saying? But when you get to a certain relationship point with God and you start realizing, like, I cannot put anybody or anything above you, things start changing. Now, I have seen a lot of people in backlash to people denouncing, And, you know, a lot of people have been like, how is this demonic? I'm literally doing the work of the Lord. We do community service. We do charity. I'm literally in church every Sunday. I do Bible studies. And I'm going to just be honest with you. Like, if you really did Bible studies, you also would see in the book, it says, and then the people will come to me and cry out, Lord, Lord, like we did all these things in your name. What do you mean you do not know me? And I'm going to find that verse, but just because, and this is not even just to people who are in sororities or fraternities, but just in general believers across, just because you out here doing the work, just because you in church every Sunday, just because, you know, you're a good quote unquote person does not mean that one, you have a relationship with Jesus, or two, you're, you know, going to be spending eternity with him. And the requirements are literally found in the book. If you read the Bible, and first and foremost, it starts off with a relationship with Jesus Christ. Now, after you form this relationship, you know, things start changing in your heart, and there's certain things that you don't want to do. Like, for instance, again, I never joined an organization, but I used to make secular music, and I don't really listen to secular music anymore. And the reason of that is because I was being convicted of listening to music that literally goes against God. And so back to what I was saying earlier, like, if you feel convicted, listen to God. Who cares if people think you crazy? Who cares if people are calling you a follower or saying this is just a trend? And I don't understand why people, like, first of all, if somebody comes out and does something and says something on their own page about their own life, I don't understand what's the commentary on it if it has nothing to do with you. Why do you feel so offended when somebody is saying, I felt convicted because the things that I was doing did not agree with God?
I was the number 9. So the 9s that came in the line, like, before me, that pledged before me, they would be the ones that would be on me, like calling and stuff, and they would have my number. They would have, like, you know, if you did something, or if they felt that you talked to them disrespectful, if you didn't call them big sister, you got to write 5-page long papers talking about how you're disrespectful. And on top of that, you got to go do house visits. So house visits is like when you go meet up with big sisters that are just in town. It's you and like 2 or 3 other people with you. And mind you, you could never be by yourself. If they ever caught you on campus by yourself, they would kidnap you. Like, on top of that, like, not even the Deltas, but like if the Qs, which was the brother fraternity of us, caught us, they could kidnap us. And then they would have to call your license. They would have to come get you. They could do whatever, you know what I mean, to you. Like, you know, you have to get in the cut, which I mean, like, take licks. Everything. They smile wipe you. They do this thing where they make you sit in Delta chair, which is basically like squats. They sit on you. They spit on you. They hit, you know, and spit on you. Yeah. You know, we would eat dog food. I mean, the most demeaning, disgusting stuff that you could ever imagine. We would do this thing called Delta apple, where we would literally all take and bite out of the onion and like pass it to each other. You know, if you ever got an attitude because of something that they did to you, it's over with for you.
So in your opinion, what is the worst D9? Fraternity.
Fraternity?
That's a lot. Are we getting disrespectful? The Sigmas? Sigmas?
Man, you know what I hate? I hate when people try to tell other people they wrong, or they try to make them think like them. And here's why I say this. You know, sitting there, I guess this dude, he was part of some type of fraternal organization. And this dude, I guess this wannabe Bible thumper, as I call him, always preach about the Bible. Don't try to tell them that fraternity, sorority, Masonic organizations are the devil. And he's just talking to this guy. And this guy's being real, he's being real nice about it, you know. He's talking real calm and stuff, just telling the guy, hey, you know, no, it's not about that. This is the reason why I joined. And the guy's like, well, you know, this, you going to hell. Listen, let people do what they want to do. That's why it's called free will. I hate when people try to make you think like they think. It's not a group think type environment. People can do what they want to do. And if people that's part of Masonic organizations, fraternal, sororities, or whatever, and they chose the wrong one, let them discuss that with God, whoever they pray to in the afterlife. Stop trying to make people think like you, especially when it comes to like certain stuff. That's just like, if you're a hardcore Baptist and somebody that's a Catholic telling you that being a Baptist is wrong, and then you're going to defend why Baptist is the best religion there is. So just like you can defend yourself when it comes to your religious choices, people can defend themselves when it comes to them joining other organizations. You know what? You don't have to mess with me because I gave him the eye. I gave him these hands.
Here are a few interesting facts about the very first Black fraternity, also known as Sigma Pi Phi fraternity, or the Boule. This organization has operated secretly for the most of its history. This information is available publicly on their website, so I'm not sharing any secrets with you. Sigma Pi Phi fraternity was founded on May 15, 1904 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, the oldest Black Greek letter graduate level fraternity in existence. The fraternity was founded by 6 men who wanted to establish an organization for men of achievement. And these men were quite accomplished in themselves. They experienced many firsts across various industries. Sigma Pi Phi fraternity is also referred to as the Boule, derived from Greek history, referring to a designation of a council of chiefs. The titles of their officers and members are also derived from Greek history, as well as the nomenclature for their affiliate chapters. The fraternity also systemically supports historically Black colleges, national civil rights organizations, and local scholarship programs for youth, especially young Black males. It has also supported communities impacted by tragedies and catastrophes, such as Hurricane Katrina in New Orleans, as well as the earthquake in Haiti, to name a few. The fraternity also contributed to the establishment of the National Museum for African American History and Culture in DC. Sigma Pi Phi fraternity has grown to include 142 member Boules, as well as 5,000 active members around the world. Notable members include Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., W.E.B. Du Bois, Carter G. Woodson, Charles Drew, Elijah Cummings. The list goes on. I'm Liz, the creator of POUP, a party game celebrating Black college students and grads. Stay tuned for more content celebrating Black collegiate life, and answer this question from POUP card game in the comments below.
What's good, y'all? So this has kind of been in my spirit for some time now. Kind of been battling it back and forth. Just waiting for the right time to really open up about it to everybody. And I just figured this would be a good time, on a good platform, so I can, address everything to everybody. I know a lot of people wonder what's going on in certain people's minds when they make this decision. I just been battling it for a while, and I know there's other people like me. But yeah, so I'm denouncing from FAMU. I just, feel like it's giving me cultish vibes. Being a HBCU grad from the #1 historical Black college in the nation, it's very cultish, like a lot of people, why is orange and green even a thing, really? You know what I'm saying? Like that, those colors shouldn't even really mix like that. And, I just don't want to be a part of it no more. Like, it's the hype, the organizations and the connections I have with so many people that's all over the world now. I don't want to do it no more. Like, everywhere I go, it's just FAMU this, FAMU that. Like, can I, be myself? Can I, have my own personality? Like, why does all my friends have to associate with FAMU? I just feel like I lost a bit of individuality,
You're in a frat? Why haven't you invited me to one of your parties? We don't throw parties. We do community service. Bullshit. I've seen the movies. I know your frat house is jumping. But seriously though, could you hook me up with some beer? Seriously though, we just do community service. We're all about giving back. Yeah, I'm sure that comes later. But the chicks that go to your parties, can you hook me up with one of them? No, but I could hook you up with the Salvation Army. So if y'all don't throw parties and don't have alcohol at the parties, what the hell do y'all do? Service.
Teacher puts on teacher's sorority jacket. What you're watching there is a crime in all 50 states and throughout the world. It's just not done. And this is very serious. Defiant she is, this substitute teacher. Look at this. putting on the teacher's AKA Alpha Kappa Alpha jacket. Students, social media, bracing for what will happen next. There will be repercussions. AK Sorority 8 is the first Black women's sorority founded in 1908 on Howard University's campus. The organization's colors, salmon pink and apple green. The students in her class tried to warn her, don't do this. You don't want to do this. Don't put the teacher's jacket on. This defiant senior woman, she didn't care. She's warm, she's toasty. It looks like she's getting suited up for a fashion show, admiring herself. It's unbelievable. The student who posted it explained, the whole class tried to explain to her, you need to take this off, ma'am.
Fraternities and sororities that didn't include blacks in colleges. So blacks couldn't be a member, so they created their own.
Yeah.
And the reason initially to create their own wasn't to be like the white establishments. It was to fight against some of the injustices that were happening on campuses and in the community against blacks and minorities.
Impossible to examine the advancement of black people without discussing Black Greek letter organizations. Greek life is more than just letters, colors, parties, drinking, a lifetime commitment to the community.
The Divine Nine, the Black sororities and fraternities, the Black secret societies, I believe it's important, not just from an organizational standpoint, but from a principle standpoint and the way that they were developed and why they were developed, and continue those traditions and that information passed forward down from generation to generation is important. African American history, you see like Black secret meetings that happen on plantations, right? You see, even before the Underground Railroad, you just see secret meetings of readings, type of meetings. What do we have to do? What's best for our family? It's Black people doing what's best for Black people. And they're just important to what we do as a community and as a
So in this video, this woman is literally denouncing and renouncing the sorority that she was sworn in. And let me tell you the truth about fraternities and sororities. It is a cult. It is demonic. In the Bible, we know that the Lord says that we should not take up an oath with a man, but we should only do vows and oaths with the Lord. These fraternities and sororities, they make you do oaths. They make you do all these vows and all these different rituals just to get into these cults because they want you to serve their God. It's a false God. If you know someone that is in a fraternity or a sorority, you need to send them this video because it is demonic and they need to renounce and denounce all ties from this cult.
Why I denounce my ex-Black Greek fraternity, and why no Christians should join.
So right before I denounced, I was like trying to get to know God better, like reading my Bible, which is the best way to do it. And I found so many flaws, like I found so many ifs, and buts that had to do with how I got in the fraternity and what I was doing in the fraternity that was against the word of God. And it all started off with the first commandment. You shall have no other gods before me. And this commandment was put in place because people was worshiping everything else and God at the same time. And God don't mean have him first and then other things. That's the other things is things that are before God, that are in his presence. Of course, the Greeks, they'll be like, it's your fault for putting a fraternity in the place of God. Like, no, it don't work like that. It's having a fraternity in the presence of God, just being in it in general. It's being lukewarm, and I was being lukewarm, and I can admit that. And here's a red flag, even in the prayer. It says, may the true spirit of the fraternity guide our hearts, guide our thoughts, and control our lives. Like, isn't the Holy Spirit supposed to do that? Like, when I say it's so much misinterpretation of scripture, so much replacement of scripture with the fraternity, it's just demonic. And a lot of people will try to defend it, but it literally speaks for itself and its fruits. It says the fraternity, and then it says the light of the world. over the altar. But what does the Bible say is the light of the world? It is literally Jesus. Jesus is the light of the world, as it says in John 9:5. Not to even mention the origins. Three of the founders were Freemasons. And what do Freemasons believe? Let's see. This dude right here, Albert Pike, he's literally a Freemason saying that Lucifer is God and that Luciferianism is the doctrine of Freemasonry. So this explains the Freemason handshake at the top of the AKA crest with the false god on there. Just like the same one on Kappa Alpha Psi's. And the same exact one on Phi Beta Sigmas. And the whole purpose of these fraternities and sororities is to take glory away from God and to give it to the gods of these fraternities. Even in this song, it says, carrying out earth and heaven's grand command, success goes to gain, that our fraternities' praises may be sung. And not to even mention all of the chants that they say, all of my love, my peace, and happiness you'll give to the fraternity. But the Bible literally says, love God with your heart, mind, and all your strength. And most of them have this torch of enlightenment that looks pretty familiar. Yep, that one.
So I recently denounced AKA. Yes, I was a member of the sorority and decided to denounce, renounce, and walk away. And I'm going to talk about that specifically because I feel like so many people ask about why, and I feel like people also don't have full context as a believer and as a Christian, why someone should not be active in any of these organizations. It's not just AKA. It's there's so many others, but I'm gonna tell my story and how God dealt with me. Long story short, God really dealt with me about not being a member of this organization. I had been a member for over 12 years. I was never active after undergrad. Was it 12 years? Over 10 years. I joined in 2012. And in 2016, I started growing closer in my relationship with God and growing deeper in my relationship with God, and people started bringing it up. And they're like, that's not of God. And I just thought they were being overly religious, and I was dismissing it because honestly, I was just like, you can't tell me something that you've never walked through. I walked through this organization and it's not demonic and all of this stuff. So for me, I was just in a place where I was kind of like, yeah, these people at church, they really overdoing it. They have no idea you can still be a Christian and still be a part of this organization. But over time, the truth ended up being revealed. God started dealing with me about it. So even though in 2015, 2016, people started dealing with me and saying stuff about it, I made a decision to renounce because I started getting deeper in the things of God. So I started understanding more about deliverance and more about the demonic realm. And as I started doing that and studying, I was like, oh yeah, I probably need to renounce. But for me, that renouncing was just, renouncing and, reversing the curse and the words and the oaths that I spoke over myself in order to become a member of the organization. And so that was 2015, 2016, but that wasn't something that I was living out publicly. It was just something I did privately, but I also wasn't still fully convinced that I even needed to denounce. I just thought it was enough to be I'm gonna be good. I'm gonna detach myself from it privately. But to be honest, I was still actively, involved with my former line sisters. I was still, throwing out my pinky or strolling or doing all these things. Or I would wear my letters from time to time, but it wasn't something super consistent. So I didn't really see anything wrong with it. But then as time went on, this year rolled around and God made it so clear that I could not miss that I no longer needed to be a member of this organization. Okay, so the first thing was there was this woman who basically reached out to me at the beginning of this year, and she had been a part of a community that I had built. So I am a digital marketing automation strategist and business coach. I help Christian women entrepreneurs market and monetize their ideas to 6 figures and beyond. My business, Epic Fab Grow, we help Christian women entrepreneurs literally grow their faith and grow their businesses. And so I have built a career and a business and a life that people know I am God-centric. People know that I am Jesus-centric. And so this woman in particular, she reached out to me And you could tell she was a bit nervous about it. She sent me a DM on Instagram and sent me this video of all of these people who were denouncing these organizations. And it was like all about getting out now, like getting out of these organizations. And I literally rolled my eyes because I felt away and I was just like, absolutely not. This is ridiculous. Like, this lady is over here judging me. She has no idea what she's talking about. Like, she, you know, has never been in one of these organizations and she telling me I need to get out. Like, girl, you don't even know what goes on inside of it. Like, so I just was really deeply offended because I felt like she was coming for my Christianity. I felt like she was trying to judge me and say, oh, you're not Christian enough. You're still in this organization and you're not really devoted to God. You're really not sold out for God. So I took it as a place of offense and I allowed for offense to build up in my heart. And literally I felt the physical offense in my heart. Like, I was so like offended and I would not let that go. And I remember sitting there and just feeling so judged, but also feeling like, Lord, like, you know, me and you are right here. Like, I thought we were good. Like, you know, like if this was an issue for you, you would have said something to me about it. Like, I'm not understanding why this isn't something you would have said something about sooner. And so as time goes on, you know, I'm really in my feelings about that. I'm trying to convince myself that there's nothing wrong with me being a member of the organization. And it's like this whole thing. And so God started, I remember I was standing in my room over there and I remember telling God, like, I was like, they got me real messed up. I'm never denouncing AKA. Y'all, I literally told God that. And when I tell you that God was like, he would not let me forget that. And he was like, so I can't have that? He was like, you're not going to do what? And it just kept convicting me because there was a time when I was in undergrad where I made a decision to give my life to God wholly and fully. And I told God that like nothing was off limits. And so the fact that I was even telling him that that thing was off limits was a problem. And it revealed idolatry. I think a lot of times in this modern society, people think that idolatry is just bowing down to things. Now, I did have to bow down to become a member, okay? Like, I was on a whole pillow and I had to get on my knees. And I think a lot of y'all know exactly what I'm talking about if you're Greek, okay? Or if you've been through an experience like that, or if you're a Mason or Eastern Star. But for me, I had to walk through that. But I also felt like, you know, or what I was saying about idolatry is that literally idolatry isn't just bowing down in the natural to something. The fact that we place things of so much value before God that if God says that that's a problem, that we're afraid to let it go. And so that was me understanding that, this is an issue for me. This is not something that I need to be a part of. And so after I did all that, I had that conversation with God. I was still kind of trying to justify my membership with the organization. So the first thing that happened was the lady reached out to me. The second thing that happened was one of my former neos. She basically reached out to me on Super Bowl Sunday. And she told me that she was denouncing AKA. So here I am. Remember, I'm in my mindset over here like, yeah, like you don't even have to let nobody force you to like feel like you need to denounce. You can renounce publicly or privately like I did. And I tried to explain to her like what I had done. And I was over here trying to convince her to stay a member and that she didn't need to necessarily not be a member anymore. So that was the second thing. And then a few weeks later, because my birthday is 10 days after that. And then more time passed and I ended up going out of town with a friend. And it was when I was on that trip that God literally used another person to literally reach out to me. And in her journal, she literally wrote down that God was unpleased with my affiliation to this organization and that God had made it so clear to me through other people time and time again. And God literally told me, he literally said on this lady's journal, first of all, she was like, well, God, I don't want to share this with Candace. I don't want to offend her. He was like, meanwhile, you trying not to offend her and you're offending me. And he went on to say like, Candace, I'm not giving you that many more warnings. So I was like, wait a minute. Okay, not me over here ignoring the signs that God has been sending me. Not me being so hard-headed that I'm over here trying to defend the thing that God wants me up and out of. So it was just so crazy for me. But the thing that took the cake for me was that God literally showed me that there were so many demonic open doors in my life with things that I was struggling with in the spiritual world that were open doors because of this organization. So for me, when I realized that some of those struggles that I was dealing with was literally only because I opened my mouth and made a decision to be pledged to an organization for the rest of my life, I said, oh baby, listen, when I tell you I flew back home, I wrote my letter of renouncing, denouncing, got it notarized and sent it in a hurry, okay? And I just began to be so grieved because I was like, man, I was grieving the Holy Spirit all this time. The last thing I'm gonna talk about is like the openly demonic stuff that is hidden in plain sight. The fact that we had to take part in an actual ritual to become a member. I'll never forget that when we went through like the ritual or whatever, that I looked around at a few of my former line sisters at the time and was like, what did we just do? It was crazy. It was to the point where we were like what just happened? And I feel like it was just hidden in plain sight, but people try to cover it up and act like it's not a problem.
Greek life was ruined by social media. And I'm gonna just, this whole thing of people denouncing their letters on TikTok is kind of insane. Like, that is a decision because you made a private decision to join the community, to join your respective organization. You should also be making a private decision to denounce and remove that organization from your life. The only groups of people that need to know are your former chapter, people that you kept up with, like formed relationships with over your college years and maybe into your postgraduate years. And then the national organization, you need to get right with them in writing or whatever your formalized process is in order to denounce your letters and get that done. Other than that, you should not be like, why are you plastering it everywhere that, oh, these people are demonic, they worship other gods. There were prayers in parts of our formalized things that we do in our organization. So I don't know where people are getting the fact that it's not rooted in like Christianity and stuff. Somebody made this point, the 1900s were definitely a point where Black people were very Christian and very conservative. At least in my experience, like I said, prayers were a part of this thing. So yeah, getting on here and like trying to have your claim to fame to say that I'm so high and mighty and I'm no longer a part of this organization is actually kind of crazy. But that's just my 2 cents. I just think that people are just want some attention.
So to all my women who have denounced from sororities and men from fraternities, were you silent in your denouncement videos or were you silenced? Because every denouncement video, and I've been watching denouncement videos since before, people are saying a lot without saying a lot. And then it dawned on me, the reason why they couldn't really say everything was because they have been silenced. This is crazy. And I publicly apologize and will privately apologize to anyone I've ever said any ill will about for making a denouncement video, because I had the spirit of revelation, and not only from reading the creed and the pledge and seeing why y'all didn't say what y'all said in the videos is because y'all couldn't and y'all weren't allowed to.
So I always be doing videos talking mess about the men in the D9 fraternities, but I thought since it's Father's Day, I'll do a video talking about the positives of each D9 fraternity, like what makes each man in each org so great. And each of the orgs have great men, like great leaders, so happy early Father's Day to all the men in the D9. So let's get into the video. Oh, and also a happy early Father's Day to whichever one of y'all decides to act right and become my husband and have my kids, because y'all be playing games. That wasn't the point of this video. Let's get into it. So the positives of each D9 fraternity. Let's get into it. If you're looking for somebody who's super ambitious, get you an alpha. Like if you want a man who's an astronaut, a DJ, and a teacher, get an alpha. Like they just are super ambitious and just like super goal driven. Love that. We love an ambitious man. So get you an alpha if you love an ambitious man. If you love a confident man, you need you a man of Kappa Alpha Psi. You need you a noob. Yeah, these men are very confident. Like they walk in the room and you be like, who is that? Why he look good? Why he smell good? Now he might think he look better than you, but he has confidence. No, I'm just kidding. No, but these men are confident. Like if you love a confident man, Kappa Alpha Psi is where you need to be, sis. This one is gonna sound very cliche, but if you want somebody who's gonna be like your friend, like homie, lover, friend, you want that, get you a man of Omega Sci-Fi. Like these men are great friends. They're just great people. Like, I don't know, they're just very well respected by like everybody. Like you need a job, call a Q. He knows somebody that knows somebody. You need help moving furniture, call a Q. You need help, you want a barbecue, call a Q. I don't know. They're just great people. They're just great friends. They're just fun. Qs are fun. They're fun. Love a Q. If you want an intelligent man, men of Phi Beta Sigma are some of the most intelligent men. Like they really are. Like well-rounded though. If you want to know why Eve ate the apple and what day she ate it and at what time, ask them. They would know. But no, seriously, they're really intelligent, very wise. I feel like Sigmas just, I don't know, they just have like this intelligence. I don't know, they're very smart men though. We love a smart man, okay? Intelligence is attractive. Y'all be trying to play the Iotas, but let me tell you something about the Iotas. Iotas are some of the most kind and generous men that I've ever met. Like, they gon' give that homeless person $10. You feel me? Like, that's his last 10. I bet you the Iota gonna give it to him. You feel me? Some of the most generous men and kind men that I've ever met. So y'all better stop playing with the Iotas because we love a generous and kind-hearted man. So yeah, so that was some of the things that I think are some of the positives of each of the D9 fraternities. Like I said, they're all great. Comment down below what you think. Like, did I mess up? Let me know what you think. But yeah, thank y'all for watching and hope you enjoyed this video.
Yeah, so I just saw this video about a Delta member. She had denounced from being a Delta because she said that it corrupted with her beliefs. Like it just did not sit right with her soul. And she didn't go into too much detail, but she did say that some of the practices and things that she had to do to be a part of the Delta was just not right. And it's already been a debate that a lot of these sororities are cults and things like that. And honestly, I strongly fucking believe that shit because I promise y'all, like, they literally treat that shit like it's sacred. It's safe, like it's really sacred. I don't even know what else to describe it, but like, I didn't see like, it was one video, this girl dressed up in AKA colors and she did an AKA dance and she said that she wanted to show her respect to the AKA and that she planned on joining one when she go to college. Y'all, the comments was tearing her apart. They said that she's blacklisted and that you can't do the actual dance or whatever it's called until you are actually one of them. So she got that. Then I just seen a boy say that he wanted to be a noob just so he could do the little stroll. And it was grown men in the comments tearing him apart too. Baby, you can't tell me that these are not secret cults. Like, I'm telling you, it's something deeper and darker up under what they be trying to show and say, because it's no way you have to go through all that just to be a part of a sisterhood or brotherhood. My God, but you know what I'm saying.
Y'all talking about the whole denouncing thing, but I just think all y'all hoes is crazy as hell. I ain't gonna say all because I heard this don't happen at all of them, but whoever is letting bitches throw shit at them, spit on them, put shit in their hair, going to somebody every beck and call, using hundreds and thousands of dollars from their bank account to go buy somebody else food, rub their feet, all this little weird ass shit, letting bitches scream in their face. You feel me? I'm not just doing this off of a stereotype. I literally just watched a video of a girl saying that all this happened to her, and then she denounced. Baby, it wouldn't get to no denounce. As soon as I see a bitch yell in my face, as soon as the bitch think I'm about to spend $100, $200, $300 on her, buy her some motherfucking food at 2 o'clock in the morning, I would have been done right there. What, are y'all fucking crazy? I am somebody's mother. In my sophomore year of college, I got pregnant. I was walking across campus with a fat ass belly. So maybe I got a different opinion. I don't know. But like, y'all bitches are crazy regardless. And then y'all doing all of this just so y'all can look cool and have more friends. Y'all be talking about sisterhood, boom, boom, boom. This isn't feeling like a sisterhood. I do. Y'all even more crazier. First of all, y'all crazy as hell for even doing any of that shit. But to have endured all of that, to still go through with it, to still cross, to still do the dances, to still do all of that, okay, cool. You earned that, sister girl. But the fact that y'all getting up here basically saying F it all together when you just did all of that to get in, that is sick.
So as I said earlier, a lot of people do join sororities and fraternities when they're like in the prime of their age. So they're like usually young adults. And a lot of times people join for good reasons, for vain reasons, etc. And I remember when I was in school, when I was younger, like freshman and sophomore, I was like, it seems interesting. But as I got older, like I realized there was so much more to life than to like campus life, whether it be internships, just friendships in general, and just still being friends with some people who were in sororities or fraternities that I didn't feel like I needed to belong. And I feel like a lot of young people do want validation and sometimes do join sororities and fraternities. And unfortunately, some of these people, when they join it, it becomes their identity. Like there are some people who just join it and drop out of college. They just wanted to be in it. Of course, there are people who have like factors on why they dropped out, but generally there's some people who just become so dedicated into joining into their sorority fraternity that they are known as so-and-so, the blase, the girl, the it girl, whatever. And it just, to me, it dehumanizes you in a way where not only are you known that more than likely they were hazed some way, whether it was financial or physical, but also I remember one of my friends joined a fraternity and I said, oh, so you got all the girls now? And he was like, I didn't get no girls before I joined it. I still ain't getting no girls. And I just thought that was so hilarious because there was like often this misconception that once you join a fraternity, you got a leather jacket, you'll be cool. But I think that we have to prioritize what matters in our life, whether it's religious or spirituality. I think that you can be someone who appreciates and contributes to multiple things. But unfortunately, some people haven't learned how to balance their life. And some people do have a lot of, again, psychological problems. And so I think that if people want to denounce or renounce, it's their choice, just like it was their choice to join it. People often say that joining a Black fraternity or sorority is a lifetime commitment. And I think that's just because the culture of Blackness is just like, you know, you're always, I don't know how to explain it, but y'all probably know what I'm saying. But overall, I think that people just should be very, maybe cautious with their decisions in life. And I know, again, people are young, but even when you go publicly about it, I think it's fine to talk about some things, but certain things, if you made an oath or a promise that you would talk about it publicly, unless it's like really harmful to you or others, I think you can keep some things like to yourself or just say, you know, you're moving on. Just talk about personal growth in general and not more so like vengefulness. I know some people just don't know how to process that. Maybe they will learn. And I'm not trying to like blame anybody. I'm just saying sometimes things are misplaced anger. Like some people could be mad at their big brother or big sister. And I think it is important again to highlight how like a lot of things are swept under the rugs, like crimes, etc. But I think overall, we just have to learn how to be better communicators and also better peacemakers for just Black culture in general. And I don't think elitism is going to save us at all. So that's all I have to say about this topic. What do you all think down below? Let me know in the comments. And thank you so much for listening to Books and Looks TV. I'll see y'all next time.